is this tool called?
This is called a comb.
A comb?
A wool comb.
Just wool.
Okay.
Okay, any kind of wool will do?
Any kind of wool. It doesn't even have to be wool. It can be llama. It can be any kind of fiber, really. Okay. And there's different kinds of combs. This is a fine, and there's extra fine and super fine. Okay. And there's even coarser than this. So you've got to have the right comb for the right wool.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to start by lashing on the locks, pulling them out of my washed fleece.
So you just pull the end of the lock.
Yep.
The chance here, I know, in general. Oil hair?
So this is washed, but it's still got junk in it.
Still got a lot of junk in it. Washing it really is taking out a lot of dirt and a lot of lanolin.
Okay.
It doesn't really get out things like hay, because it kind of sticks in the fiber, you know? It gets out some. So now I've got some on there. I could put a lot more on there. So now I'm going to start combing it right at the very tips. And the fiber is going to transfer to the comb that's moving. And I'm going to switch hands. See how it's already fluffing up? A lot of the hay will come out, little bits. You can pull out the big bits on your own.
See, that's something I still cannot figure out what is woolen, right? So we just get woolen spinning and what's the other one? Yeah,
How come it pulls it and doesn't just go through it?
It's snagging on the combs itself, and it's getting friction from the other fibers that are in the comb. Also, the combs, the tines are offset, so the fiber has to go through that.
It slows them right down.
Yeah, so it adds a little bit of pull.
Did they make these in the olden days with nails?
No, they had to make the tines. In the olden days, nails were made to be used as nails. When people moved, they would burn down their house and collect the nails because they were more valuable than the house. Depends on how far back in the olden days we're talking.
Right.
Okay, so now that's all cleaned and fluffed out. I could probably go through again and it would probably get some of that little bit that's left there. But I don't see any more matting or anything like that.
So that's done then.
Well, now I'm going to pull it off so we can spin it.
Okay.
I'm not going to spin it, but we'll pull it off so we can do that. I'm going to use a diz, which is really just anything with a hole in it. And we're picking a hole of the size that I want. And what that does is that holds the fibers together as I pull, and that again increases that friction in between those fibers.
Yes, you couldn't spin that woolen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's roving.
Nope, this is a sliver.
A sliver. Oh, I see. Okay.
Roving comes from a drum carder.
Oh,
Or
okay.
comes from a commercial carding process.
Okay.
Another thing you can see out there is what's called combed top. So this is closer to combed top, although that is also from a commercial process. Okay? This is called a sliver.
Sliver. Okay.
And if you're using cards, what comes off of cards is called a rolag.
A rolag.
Yeah, so they like to have terms for everything, right? So,
Okay.
so technically that's a sliver. All the fibers are going in the same direction, which is very different than a woolen process like the cards. All the fibers are going in all different directions. So this is very strong. Okay? If I pull out here, it'll probably start to separate because that's about my fiber length is about that. That's the staple length of the fiber.
Okay.
longer fiber, you can get fiber that has a 16-inch staple length.
Wow.
And that's just going to be incredibly strong.
Wow.
And there's some fibers that have like 1.5 inches
Right.
staple length. And that'll be less strong, but much stronger in this configuration. This can
Staple
be split
length.
down the middle because the fibers are going in the same direction. And then, since we're going to do probably a bunch of combing and then later on spin it,
What is coning?
this is the combing.
Oh, combing. Okay.
I'm just going to roll it up and make a nest so that can be spun later. So you do a bunch of combing, get your stuff ready to spin, and then you sit down at your wheel or your drop spindle and do your spinning to make your yarn. What's left over here is combing waste, but it can be put through a drum carder, it could be processed in other ways. It's going to have more dirt and oils than the other stuff, but it can still be used. You can use it as a stuffing. A lot of people don't like to waste anything. So with carding, you don't have waste, but all that stuff is left in your finished product. So with this, that's all removed, but you end up with a little bit of waste. These are the shorter fibers, the oils, the second cuts, the dirt, that kind of stuff. And this is the waste that I got out of these 3 combings here. So not really a whole lot.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And your tag is turned backwards. Is that for your what is it called?
Valkyrie Supply is the company.
Valkyrie Supply. Thank you. How much are these combs?
These here are $85.
For the set?
Yep, for a pair of them. The pad that it's mounted on is $19, and that's optional. It doesn't really need to be used.